So that means not the circuit ones. So the content remained the same, but the branding changed. And government on the other side, when you argue on this, will tell you, but they pay us taxes. You see, our argument should necessarily be that government should be strict on some of these matters if it is okay as for its people. Because while we run to it, it laughs at us. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, we must know that the solution begins with us. One of the greatest African writers from the Western Africa said, "My brother, the struggle begins with us." We talked of gender-based violence, but look at almost every border at night in Gulu, or even during day, you meet, it is chewing something like a goat. Something which is legal, and around the day, they are very cheap and affordable. And Mr. Speaker, this becomes a problem. Our young people's status is at limbo. And I should want to say that I am a sympathizer of this motion, even when I know it is not an easy path for us to undertake and reach. Mr. Speaker, I firmly support the bill, the motion, and now I pray that government realizes that there are certain responsibilities it plays high level of laxity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I firmly believe things of the gods should be left to the gods. The Honorable Anita Kembabazi, I would like to invite you, after which the Honorable Abraham Omia will speak.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker. Well, I am here to also support that motion that the government has to address the high levels of crime rate and drug abuse among the youth in northern Uganda. So they have told us to always talk basing on facts. I'm one of the people who has really faced a lot of abuse, not because I overmove at night, no, not because of that, but I happen to work with one of them. Actually, most of them were at a certain farm here in northern Uganda. And fine, yes, I was saying these people really want to change, but the problem that they are facing is addiction. And addiction is one thing that any usual person is not going to handle. This is going to be the work of the government. The government has to intervene. Because literally, yes, you find that these people want to change, but they cannot change. These things are always everywhere around them. They are selling them in shops, just like the Honorable Member Rajkara has said. These things are everywhere, but the government is not doing anything. So for me, I add that the government should always come. We have rehabilitation centers. I don't know, I've not really heard more about that, but we really need rehabilitations, and the security there has to be tight. It is a devil's workshop. The reason as to why most of these youth are actually redundant, it's because they lack what to do. And again, also, the relaxity here in northern Uganda is it's too much. You find that people do what they want. I feel this is where the government has to come in and intervene, starting from secondary schools. The secondary schools have to be tough. You find that these drugs are actually being sold in these secondary schools. Yeah, so I also stand that you please stand with us. We support the motion. Thank you.
The Honorable Abraham.
Protocol observed. Right Honorable Speaker. For record purpose, I'm Abraham Homea, representing the youth of Ayam District. When honorable colleagues hold audacity and impetus to come and stand against this particular motion, it strongly disappoints me because we're all aware of the modus operandi in the society we are in. And the reason to ask why I'm here, I'm strongly supporting this very particular motion, urging the government to address the high levels of crime rate and drug abuse. Statistical data from the researchers clearly reveals that northern Uganda, that is Acholi sub-region, Uganda and Karamoja, it's the region where the young people are extremely grappling in abject poverty. And if you analyze critically, you realize that it's those who have nothing to lose, they're extremely depressed, they're in abject poverty, they resort to this other diversion. That is a drug abuse, the crime rate, because by the virtue of the fact that you see a walk, and then these are people coming onto the street, they have nothing to lose, because at the end of the day, even though they are killed, they realize that they have rested. So it's on this background that we strongly call upon the government, which owes the entire role to empower these young people. If we realize that in northern Uganda, we well acknowledge that agriculture is the background of this, the backbone is this country. Why don't they empower these young people? If they produce their crops, why don't they put a particular specific standard price such that they feel motivated, that they have other ventures? We realize that northern Uganda is one of the areas whereby it's very few who access education to the level that is commendable. If that is the case, just as they have done to the developed cities, the likes of Kampala, they have established vocational grounds whereby those who do not have any particular paper, they can acquire training, technical skills to help them in the day-to-day running of their life. That is acquiring money and so forth. Why don't they bring them here? We strongly agree. You should agree with me on a very honest conversation. Not politicking, not because for the sake that you want to be against. We need to call upon the government. Point of information granted.
Honorable Speaker, you're not allowed to grant. And as such, I will invite you to please take your seat.
Thank you.
The point of information. And yes, the point of information.
Honorable members, all I wanted was to add on top of what he has said. In northern Uganda, we have undergone civil wars. And trust me, the trauma will still have it up to now. And on top of what he has said, that in the central regions, they have established vocational institutions. And in northern Uganda, trust me, where I come from, there's no secondary school. And what do you expect us to do? If we are really unemployed, what do you expect us to do if we are not to concentrate on crimes? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It would be very imprudent of me not to invite the outgone speaker, Prudence. So the Honorable Prudence, you will speak next, and I will invite the Honorable Amos to speak just after her. I am getting to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. For purposes of records, Appeal Monica Prudence. And when we are discussing issues that affect young people like this, it touches my heart. Plus the fact that our brothers, our very own people are being called agos. It really pains me. Because you know what? These people come from our homes, not so. They have parents, and we are their brothers and sisters. So before we start calling them names, what are we doing to ensure that they live a decent life that we are living? Are you doing your part as a young person? So ladies and gentlemen, before we even call upon the government to intervene in this issue, let us take it upon ourselves as the youth leaders, because right now you are here as a youth leader. So let us take it upon ourselves as the youth leaders to implement or to reach out to these young people who are affected. For example, we have very many people who are doing mentorships and mindset change in schools and then in the communities.
The point of information in just a few seconds.
Well, thank you, honorable members. I would like to give clarity and information to the House. As per my knowledge, the government, every citizen of Uganda forms an integral part of the government. And in which case, I would request that if we make our submission, we make it with that knowledge that we are also part of that government. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to make a point that let us try to be the ambassadors of change in our community, reaching out to these young people, talking to them. Me personally have reached out to very many young people in schools and out of schools. And one of the challenges that they really accept is that some of them acknowledge that it is really very hard to come out of that addiction.
So I am not a drug addict. I don't know how it feels like to be one. So I just believe that we can play a role in ensuring that we have a community that is desired of us. Thank you so much.
Honorable Amos, we have a point of order.
The Speaker and the entire House, thank you for the opportunity. Mine is going straight to the Speaker. With due respect, I and my colleagues the other side, we have noticed that the platform is being given to people who have already been here and people that I think you know their names. So the rest are raising their hands behind and you're not, I think, seeing them or something. Thank you.
Apologies, Honorable, but I would like to defend myself. I have only invited people who did not speak in the previous motion. Otherwise, the Honorable Amos.
Ladies and
Declined.
1, 2, 1,
Declined.
1, 2. The mic is not on. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honourable Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. When I hear young people talk about crime and education, I wonder if the most educated people do not commit crime. I think it is a fallacy in the House that should not be accepted.
A point of order, sir.
Mr. Speaker, you need to know point of order takes precedence, and I'm raising on a very important ground that you set us a rule that there will be no unnecessary movement. So as if you have forgotten that people are moving in and out as if they're going to the market. I beg you take note of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Brenda, Sergeant at Arms. The point of order is that you're not doing your job. So, Honorable Amos.
Okay, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the Speaker, thank you. Crime in northern Uganda is a very interesting concept. When the war ended in 2007, Mr. Speaker, there's what we call the replace our soldier perception, where women tend to give birth to more boys than girls. A lot of the boys on the street is a result of replace our soldiers. And you see, when I was attending a burial yesterday for a fallen soldier who died defending Uganda in Somalia, two things. One, insecurity is everywhere in the world. Two, Deo Akiki, Colonel, the speaker, the spokesperson of the military, made a comment that we are going to send our brother with gun salute. And in this region, guns are not new. If government and our security people who are supposed to protect us believe that 17 years after the war ended, guns are no longer new and are not yet new in this area, then we have a problem. There's a need for government to know that the younger people in this region, who composes of more than 70%, the 17-year-old below, have not heard the sound of guns. And government must understand that there is a need to address the problem of guns, violence, the problem of drug in the areas of northern Uganda with utmost responsibility. Because for a lot of time, government has been acting irresponsible, thinking that we are used to violence, and so because we are used to the noise of guns, it's okay. Guns can blow, drugs can be sold. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much. For fear of being rebuked, I want to invite the Honorable from behind to give a submission.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would make sure that I address you in the shortest way possible. I'm here just for majorly two things. The first one is that I would like to also remind you that we don't have to only argue on certain issues, but also get solutions on these issues that we're talking about here. I'm seeing there's a lot of arguments, but there are no points of consideration. Now, the first thing that I want to put in here is that the mover of the motion stated that the reasons to us why these crimes are being upgraded in our region is because of certain reasons, of which one of it was education. I feel like the things that we should be discussing here right now is like the provision of sponsorship schemes to the northern youths, and at least to improve on the level of education in northern Uganda. That's the first thing. Secondly, I promise to be brief. Secondly, the thing is idleness of the youths. The RCC spoke of Emyoga. To me, it's just like a kind of like a dream. I've never seen it being active, because I've always been moving day and night in some youth kind of like organization, looking for this kind of like help to at least activate the youth in forms of like trying to get something to do. But the government haven't done anything. I feel like at least there should be a specific way or a unique way the government can bring these kind of things to closer to the youths of northern Uganda in a particular way. I think with this I can submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The honorable next to Mr. Maxwell. Someone please assist him to the microphone. Let me have the point of order, and then I will. Let him just give information.
Right Honorable Speaker, when I came and took this podium, I said clearly that I'm a sympathizer of the motion. From the looks of the argument, most honorable members in the House seems, if not to agree with the motion, then they are sympathizing also with the motion. I should want to think that since the House is in agreement, in line to this argument, we move a motion to close the debate and pass
Honorable,
the motion.
please take your seat. I would like to invite my clerk to strike that information out of whatever is happening today. Please carry on.
Dear Honorable Speaker and the members in the House, I'm very excited for this opportunity. When I heard about the motion moved, I thought about something, and which is the one I'm going to mention. Looking at the motion, everyone looks like they are agreeing. But we should remember government has done something and they are still doing it. So to say government to address increase of crime rates might look undermining the efforts that has already been done and it's still running. I propose inclusion of one word in this motion. The word is comprehensive. Government to comprehensively address the increase of crime rates. This is to help include other people, include other stakeholders, include other interventions, include other solutions that are being suggested here and outside there to help reduce the crime rates or completely eliminate. Secondly, an advantage to addressing this challenge is that it's going to reduce the number of persons with disabilities. The use of drugs is a factor to increasing the number of persons with disabilities. And if it's not addressed, then the number of people with disability will keep increasing. Well aware, the problem that affects the youth are only four: poverty, ignorance, illiteracy, and ideological difference. And these are things that government can address. Thank you.
Our time is fast spent, so I will invite exactly 2 individuals to speak. that will be that will be exactly the president of UNSA and the Honorable Palaring. They will speak, and then we shall vote on the motion. So the Honorable Palaring, let the president speak.
Right Honorable Speaker and fellow legislators today. My name is Okot Francis. I am the UNSA president, but for the purpose of this gathering, I am representing the youth of Aswa, that is Gulu district. Now, a lot has been said about the motion that has been moved by fellow parliamentarians. But for me, I want to start by this analogy. The silence of the gun is not the existence of peace. What do I mean by this? This has come as a result of the absence of peace that is inevitable in our land today. When we talk about peace, it means everything is under control, almost to 100%. But if the youth cannot be controlled, if there is rampant misuse of drugs, it means there is no peace in the region. Now, when we talk about the government intervention, they have done very much. But now that the government has done much, and they're still doing, what do we have to do as the people and the young people of northern Uganda? We talked about the skilling hub. We already have that for Acholi sub-region. Much as it is for a sub-regional level, I believe in all the sub-regions they are there, the presidential skilling hubs. This is intended to skill the youth, not only to make them self-reliant and self-sustaining, but that is a move towards curbing the issue of drug abuse. So my point here is, the government is doing and has done, but I call on other stakeholders, civil society organizations, non-state actors to come on board and do what they're supposed to do. I can give a point here. The Acholi people have come with what is called Rochopajo initiative. That is not the initiative of the government, but it is intended to transform the decaying social life of our community and the young people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to invite the next speaker. I would very much like to invite my next speaker as I address myself to those points of information. So the Honorable Palaring, you have exactly 1 minute, and then I will pick exactly 2 points of information. One from behind, a lady, and another from a gentleman.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Whoever will refuse that this motion should not be passed will face judgment. Right Honorable Speaker, I stood up because I feel this motion is worth discussing. My name is Stephen Palaring, and I would like to appreciate so much the mover of the motion for bringing this. It's worth discussing. We are in a time whereby the young youth these days, they are very courageous. They don't fear anything. Imagine the mover of the motion said they even went up to the extent of beating an army officer, someone who owns a gun. Look how courageous the youth are these days. The next thing, these youth have gone as far as nicknaming themselves as if they are community-based organization. Like in Amuro, we have one group called Mapari Meni. The one who thinks of you is your mother. These youth are more than dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel like the government should really come and do something about it. Because it's one of the national objective and responsibility of the government to protect its citizens. Government failed to protect these children, and Another thing, these youth are everywhere, in all the districts in Uganda. And to add on, as if this is a national crisis, government have not even put any rehabilitation center in any districts, apart from the one that has been established by CBO like Gulu that is helping government. So it's high time members we advocate together that government has to do something. Then the next thing, this is thinking outside the box, right, Honorable Speaker. I think the government, on top of calling them, they should be able to really support NGOs and CBOs that has been doing their work. Because they have not been doing their work, they should give funds to these NGOs that have been rehabilitating these children, these youth who are on the street. Then the next thing, I feel like...
Honorable Speaker, I invite you to please respect the clerk in his call for time.
I remain humble, Honorable Speaker. As I wind up, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait for government to come and solve the problem, but at our individual level, we have something to do. Please, these youth are from family level, and we all come from family. Let's always advise the young one. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I have a point of information from a lady behind, after which I'll pick another point of information. The Honorable, your information.
Thank you once again. It is not an information, but also I wanted to drive us back to the discussion that we're having, that we should try to give some points that can be added to the motion in case it will be passed. So on that basis, I have 4 points that I wanted to bring across. That is one, we need to advocate for programs that target very young adolescents, because this is the point where we can be able to put in them values that will not make them people that now we identify them as people associated with crimes. Number two, I also wanted us to add to it that there's need for the government to add support or resources to organizations that are already working with these particular people. Yeah, and then the third one is, I also wanted to say that we need to also advocate for a more strong resources towards organizations or programs that are intended towards family, because family is where everything begins. And if we insist on strong family values, we shall not have these problems to deal with. Then lastly, I also wanted us to look at programs that look at mindset change for the youth, because now we have people that do not want to even use the little plots of land that they have in the villages, but rather want to come on the streets. So we should look at programs that aim at these things. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier on, I am picking one last point of information, and I am giving priority to a member of parliament that has not spoken yet. So the Honorable, but as you come, let me pick a point of order.
Well, thank you so much, honorable parliamentarians. I'm rising up on a matter of procedures. Mr. Speaker, I think the House is getting lost, because even the people who are rising up to raise point of information are not necessarily presenting information, but they're coming to bring their own arguments, which I deem is not right. So if you can be in position to look into that, and we have a guided House. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Okelo Yonosen. I am the chairperson for the youth of Goans Quarter. As I was seated down there, I felt it very painful when they were talking about drug abuse and high level of crime rates, because where I come from is where the level of drug abuse and crime is highly practiced. So as the representative of the youth from Badegela Yibi Division, I feel I should also talk about this. I am agreeing with the motion I think the government has done a lot, but the government still need to add more on to what the government has been doing to the youth so that high level of crime and drug abuse is solved. I come from Kasubi, next to Kanyagoga. You've heard the name of Kanyagoga being heard. That is where you'll find most of their goods coming from. The solution that I can maybe request from the government, I think if the government can look into this, then it will help. One, if at least in every parish we can have maybe a vocational school, then it will help. Because when we move to Badegela Yibi, there are few vocational schools. Therefore,
Decline, sir.
I'm concluding. So the government can help. Thank you so much. Let me end here.
Thank you very much. Now, honorable members of parliament, as I earlier mentioned, our time is fast spent. And so what I would like to do now is invite the Honorable Pio Isaac to convince the House that his motion is worth supporting or not. Honorable, in just a few minutes.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, sir. Thank you. Honorable members, I want to appreciate you for the deliberation in this matter. In moving the motion of urging government of Uganda to address the high level of crime rates and drug abuse among youth in northern Uganda, here are my prayers and your prayers as well. One, the government should focus on job creation for the youth. Programs partner with local businesses, NGOs, and international organizations to create vocational training institutes and apprenticeship opportunities for this youth. The second one is improve on access to education, invest in school, provide scholarships like you said, and encourage enrollment, especially among the girls and the marginalized groups. The third one is substance abuse education. Implement widespread awareness campaign on dangers of drug abuse, using schools, community centers, media platforms. We have a journalist here, and to disseminate all this information. The fourth one is rehabilitation center. As one honorable said, we have only one rehabilitation center serving Lango and actually sub-region. If a rehabilitation center can also be open in that part of the region, because there are 9 districts in Lango sub-region. And if you go to the remand home in Gulu here, you will believe me, there's names there and where these people comes from. Almost 80% are from Lango. Reason? Because there's no rehabilitation center there. So we urge the government to establish and support rehabilitation center for drug addicts and provide counseling, medical treatment, and help in social reintegration. Just 30 seconds, please. Strengthen law enforcement, improve the capacity of the police through trainings, better equipment, and adequate remuneration. Believe me, our police are paid meager. Promote community policing to build trust and cooperation between communities and the police. Then also we talked of family support system, family cohesion and resilience support for family counseling and parenting session and financial literacy should be a norm, even to the non-governmental organization. Let it be a cross-cutting issue if this issue is to resolve. Then the last thing is, I urge all of us, these are our brothers and sisters, let us be trauma-informed when we are addressing these people. We should be very careful through healthcare facilities and also implement a paradigm shift, not to call them walk, go. Instead, I like what hashtag used, street connected youth and children. That would inspire hope in them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Opio Isaac. Now, honorable colleagues, we are going to vote for the motion, the same order in which we voted for the other. All those in favor, you say yay. All those not, you say nay. So, honorable colleagues, all those in favor? All those not? So, naturally, the motion urging the government to address the high levels of crime of crime rate and drug abuse among youth in northern Uganda passes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Members, let's utilize our time well. We are not using time well. That is going to cause reliance in the proceedings. Next motion. Motion urging the government to accelerate their efforts towards dealing with the root causes of food insecurity and declining agricultural production in northern Uganda. Mover of the motion is Honorable Amuge Rachel Letitia.
The Honorable Amuge Rachel Letitia, I'd like to welcome you to please move the motion, and then quickly we'll have 2 seconders.
Honorable Speaker, the House at large. Once again, Honorable Amuge Rachel Letitia, I stand here to move the motion urging the government to accelerate their efforts towards dealing with the root causes of food insecurity and declining agricultural production in northern Uganda.
Seconders, I'd like to invite, yes, the Honorable and Honorable Emmanuel from behind to second the motion.
The Right Honorable Speaker, the 2 clerks, honorable members present, I'm called Anywa Sande. I want to second the motion that says urging the government to accelerate their efforts towards dealing with the root causes of food insecurity and the declining agricultural production in northern Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My name is Lokiru Emmanuel Nakosian. I want to join Honorable Amuge Rachel Letitia in a motion that we are urging the government to accelerate their efforts towards dealing with the root causes of food insecurity and declining agricultural production in northern Uganda. I beg the House to file me.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Amuge, I invite you to please justify the motion.
Okay, thank you,
in
Mr.
little time.
Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, once again. So, when we look at the motion, we are dealing with 2 different things. One is food insecurity. 2, that is the declining agricultural production in the region. Now, the food insecurity is being caused by the decline in the agricultural production and partly due to the poverty levels. So when we say food insecurity, that is when I can't define it directly, but by defining food security, we can get to know what food insecurity is. So food insecurity is a situation that exists when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and a healthy life. So when these needs are not met, the needs the urge to take in a different diet of our preferences and also have a balanced diet is not met, that is when we say there is food insecurity. Now, when we look at the agricultural potential of northern Uganda as a region, we have a very high level of arable and vast land that is not in use or in production. But it is absurd that due to however much that this fact exists, it is quite absurd that we actually may take after Karamoja region in the food insecurity levels, the high rates of food insecurity levels in the country. And as we say, Uganda is an agricultural country that in the past year, in the financial year 2022-2024, agriculture contributed to 24.6% of the GDP of our country. But then we can say that maybe this is not coming from our vast lands that are very fertile from this region. So what are some of these reasons that because I don't want what has been happening to happen again, that people come here and we discuss the causes of motion. I'm going to give the causes so that when we come here, I need solutions as the youth of this country, that we may come up with practical solutions, not only for the government, but also for us as the people. So, when we look at the motion, we say to accelerate. The government has so far put in, it is quite applaudable that we have several programs that have been put by the government to help in maybe youth skilling, to help in providing funds for startups, that most times people think when they say funds for startup, they think that you're supposed to go for business, but you can actually get funds for agricultural, to start an agricultural project or something like that. Now, when we look at the causes of this food insecurity and the low production, number one is the climate change in the region. We have so far had a change in our rainy seasons, in our wet seasons, and based on the changes that we have, even a layman can detect that we are having more dry spells compared to the rain seasons that we used to have. And the shift in the months has actually caused us not to know when to start planting and when not to start planting, and it has reduced in our productivity. Then, of course, that is being caused by the deforestation that is also so high currently in our region that the government has tried to put an executive order to reduce on that. Then we also have poverty that is also causing a lot of inaccessibility to food items, to farming equipments and inputs that are quite expensive in the market. There is also poor post-harvest handling by the farmers. We have a lot of farmers in our villages, local farmers, subsistence farmers, that actually they don't farm on very high grounds, but then the subsistence that they do is actually their means of income, and it's also their means of food in their families. But then when we look at how they handle the post-harvest crops, the crops that have been harvested, most times the benefits goes to the middlemen, not our real farmers in the villages, and that is quite absurd. Then also we have inadequate knowledge. That is, we talk of, we are not so much knowledgeable about the new equipments, the new farming programs, and so on. Also, as the youth, we have left a lot of the farming activities to the adults, to the old adults. The young and middle-aged adults are not actually taking part in agriculture. That goes to mindset, because we want white-collar jobs, we want to be in offices, yet we have land that is being unused. Finally, on that, so that I don't take much of the time, I want to talk on land disputes. It's a cause that we overlook most times, but we talked about land disputes here. But then when you look at land disputes, when a land is there's already a dispute. If it is, if maybe there's, it's under court, we are having a court session on that. The land is actually gazetted. It is not supposed to be used. And then, why are you fighting over land that you are also not using? So as we fight for our lands, please let's put it into much use. Now, when we say food insecurity has actually cost us a lot as also as a region, because number one, it's actually a cause of malnutrition that, according to UBOS, their health survey in 2022, when you look at the population, only 1 out of 10 of children who have been surveyed on actually take in a balanced diet, and that leads to stunting of growth. When we look at concentration levels, we look at their growth and development. That is quite bad. It's also leading to an escalate in poverty levels in the region. As we say, our backbone is agriculture. Then if we are not benefiting from our core, what else are we going to benefit from? It's also leading to rise in food prices. We have already established we are one of the poor regions. That is, it's not something that we are supposed to be proud of, but then, of course, it is the truth. Now, if we are not producing also the food that we are the ones consuming, which means they are going to be brought in from other places, hence the rise in prices, and then we cannot still afford them because we don't have the money. It's also discouraging agricultural investment and productivity. Now, based on these effects that we are seeing in our communities and the causes, I urge our members, I urge you honorable members of parliament, as you come here to discuss this motion, I urge you that as we are going to stand here and support this motion, please also come and endeavor to give us possible solutions as a country, as a government, you as the government, you as a member of the government. Please come here and support this motion as we strive to give our region the best of the best. Thank you so much. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much. Now, I believe that this house has a particular talent pool, and every last member here has a distinguished talent. So it will be a very serious error on my side not to tap into the minds of members of parliament that have not spoken yet. That said, I am going to prioritize members of parliament that have not made submissions as yet. I will start from behind, the three gentlemen behind first. Starting with the last one, the Honorable Emma. The point of order will prevail.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with all due respect, we appreciate the need for a balance in members who have not spoken and members who have spoken. But there are members who have just raised point of order and have really not spoken. Counted as being members who have spoken and have made submission would be unjust. And it is on your table, Mr. Speaker, sir, that you do justice. And on that matter, if it is also in order, Mr. Speaker, sir, I add something. Very small. On the motion, before my brother, fellow honorable member of the August House comes.
Now that you are encroaching in time, I will give you less time than I would give a normal speaker.
Thank you very much. Time is very relative. Members of the House, this is a very crucial motion, and I would love to applaud the mover of the motion for the justice she has done to it, establishing the grounds for discussion. Although, as an extension, I would like to talk about the health aspect in as regards to the food we eat. Securing this, the security of food or what we need to eat for generations is something very important. But the question of what is the quality of what you eat and its impact in your health, on your health, is very, very crucial. Right now we have rising cases of cancer due to the utilization of our people in the villages utilizing chemicals, agrochemicals, which are seeping into the last product of the agricultural endeavors, which at the end of the day is causing our people to develop breast cancer, causing our people to develop lung cancer, liver cancer, which is a big problem. Recently we had an incident with South Sudan when they refused to let in tons and tons of maize from Uganda because of aflatoxin. Same aflatoxin which is being consumed by our members. And this is due to poor storage, and some of these preservatives that are circulating in our market in northern Uganda has become a problem. We've had a situation where we have seen a number of agrochemical products have come into northern Uganda, distributed at a fair cost, yet at the end of the day, they're causing a lot of problems for our people. We have a regional cancer institute which is being established. Ask yourself, how many people from northern Uganda do go to Cancer Institute. I believe that this motion is very crucial, but the aspect of health, the aspect of the safety of our people must not be neglected.
Wafoyo, as I mentioned earlier, priority will be given to members of parliament that have not spoken yet. As such, I want to start by inviting the Honorable Emma. After which, the Honorable Achaye will speak.
Well, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, members of this August House. I did mention my name, but for purposes of clarity, I am Lokiru Emmanuel Nakosia. This motion has really touched me, and it is touching Karamoja subdivision, as we say. The mover of the motion did mention clearly that when we talk of food insecurity in northern Uganda, I think Karamoja is part and parcel of this problem.
Honorable, I would request that you please use the microphone.
Thank you. So when we talk of issues of food insecurity, we need first to remove what's called mindset change, which is within all of us, the youth in northern Uganda. But this calls for us to do what? To look for what's called advocacy. Start with you yourself, and we first remove what's number one, laziness. All these high crime rates we are speaking of in northern Uganda, it's just brought out of laziness. The person, most of the youth right now don't want to go to the garden. They don't want to dig. They don't want to do what? So where will you get the food from? And then, of course, when we are also speaking of these food insecurity matters, one is for Karamoja sub-region. I think it's a blessing in Apak district that last year coffee was planted and is doing well in Apak district, so which is a blessing. But as I want us to grow our attention to Kotido or Karamoja sub-region. One, we were made to understand that the Karamojans don't want to dig, but they want to practice the other aspect, which is cattle rustling. So, members, I think that one is a mindset change. We are going to do all what it takes for people to go to the garden. Thank you so much.
As earlier mentioned, Honorable Achaye will take the stand.
Right Honorable Speaker, may you reign.
Yes. By all means.
My name is Opio Nobatachaye. I'm going to speak on the motion that has been raised. I support this motion because one, food insecurity affects our well-being, our livelihoods, and our health in the different various aspects that we go through in our day-to-day livings. Now, one thing I would love to say is that, let me start with the issue of land conflicts. In the past few months or years, we have been seeing land conflicts between the borders of Acholi sub-region and Karamoja sub-region, whereby we have been seeing that a lot of crops or agricultural products were being destroyed due to land conflicts. Therefore, I would call upon the government and the House at large that be competent enough to discourage issues of land conflicts, and let us involve the local leaders of our communities to avoid such matters in our communities. Then the other thing that I'm going to talk about is I would call upon the government to improve the infrastructures that we have in our in the different districts in Uganda. One, because we need accessibility to all these crops, all the things that we eat. As the previous speaker clearly said that our health is a priority. We need to focus on what we eat, and we need to know, is it?
Mr. Speaker, please carry on.
Yes, sir. As the previous speaker said, that we need to mind of our health as well. So in regards to food insecurity, we have to mind on what we eat. Because as you say that you're seeing different people are being affected by cancer and different things. So in this matter, we call upon everyone to focus well on what they feed on and basically what they do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The point of information first, anyways.
I beg to submit.
Thank you, sir. In 30 seconds.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. 30 seconds can't even say hi. Otherwise, thank you for the minutes you've given me. I want to give this information. People are talking about the food insecurity. Being a proud farmer, for those who always follow me, the food insecurity should not be blamed on the infrastructures. It should not be blamed on the land conflict at the border, because majorly where there always conflict, the recent speaker was talking of land conflict between Acholi and Karamoja. For me, I border Karamoja. Let's look at this issue broadly. What always causes food insecurity is not conflict, is not land conflict, it is the land usage. Ladies and gentlemen, in northern Uganda, the land usage is very poor. You find we have a customary land system where the land is being distributed into small pieces. We should embark on, the government should prioritize and design a proper land usage strategies to help in fighting the food insecurity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, it is very important to note that I have invited 3 speakers successfully, who are all males. So I am going to invite 3 speakers that are females, just for gender balance. So I will start with the Honorable Mildred. I go to the Honorable over there. And finally, Giramia Pamela.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. The motion mover did a very good justice to the motion and urged us to discuss and bring out solution. And our motion is telling us to urge government to accelerate their efforts. And what are those efforts that we are urging government to accelerate is what we should be talking about here, I think. Recently, we know she has listed all the causes of food insecurities. She has given us the effects. But what are those government projects that should be really accelerated? We had the presidential directives on the Balalo, but still up to now, Balalo are still there in our moral land, in our land. Those are the projects, the programs that we really need to urge government into. And secondly, I want to talk about planning, the government planning. There's a way government plan their things that they in turn, ironically, destroy them. You see, a government has planned that we are going to plant trees on all these roads, the highways, and what the next year they are planning for water to pass through that road, and they're digging out those trees. And yet they are very crucial for our agricultural product, for the climate justice that we are striving for. So if you're going to, I think if you're going to come here and discuss this motion, ladies and gentlemen, let us concentrate on those government programs and projects that need to be accelerated so that we can have the food security that we want. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable, please take
To the Honorable Chair, all honorables in the House, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually here to speak more about the solution since they've spoken more of the effects about food insecurity in the region. Well, as the government has a paramount responsibility to protect its citizens from hunger and create the conditions for sustainable agricultural development, it is time to move beyond the empty promises and we concentrate more on actions backed up by substantial investments. Well, as you look at the agriculture in the northern region, it has been mainly been affected by climate change in the region. Whereas this is because farmers mostly depend on the rain more than on the events on how are they being changed. The government should create a platform whereby they can be able to inform the farmers more about the climate change, which has affected the food production in the market. We are having, our crops are drying up since farmers are depending more on the rain when it is already dry season. Next up is about transportation of their goods. How can you expect a farmer from Kochongaro to transport the food up to Gulu main market as a far distance on a truck, and maybe it may even fail? So they should also provide at least transport to the farmers to easily transport their goods from the villages to the town. And adding on that, I want to speak about technologies. These farmers in the villages are farming using labor, using hands. They don't have enough tractors to plow their lands. They're using oxbow to plow their lands, which is really of a disadvantage to them, which has also led to a low production of food in the market. Whereas, investing in agriculture is not merely a humanitarian imperative. We should also be able to give the farmers credit. Most of these farmers are unable to carry on with their agricultural activities due to lack of fund to fund them in their activities. At least if they could really focus more on the farmers and with fundings to carry on their activities, they could really increase on the food production in the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Now I want to remind honorable members of the House that when you are going to speak, please make a point of introducing yourself, because one, the members of the House would have to know you, and two, our online viewers should also know who you are. As I mentioned earlier, the Honorable Giramia.
Yes, thank you so much, the Right Honorable Speaker and the different honorables in the House in your different capacities. Once again, my name is Giramia Pamela, a fourth-year medical student, but also a laboratory technologist by profession, and the Vice Guild President, Gulu University, 23rd Government. I want to thank the mover of this motion. However, on the contrary, I will oppose the motion based on just one point of view. The same government we are urging to accelerate their effort is the same government that to some extent is accelerating food insecurity in northern Uganda. I come from a place where when we were growing up, we will never run out of food locally, not because our parents are employed, but because of the breeds of foods we are using, the breeds of seeds, the breeds of animals we are keeping. But this is the same government that has introduced breeds. For example, what we have is they brought for us cassava that gets ready in 3 months. But for us, we grew up knowing you plant your cassava, you eat it after 3 years. So what improvement has the government brought to that extent? You have your cassava and the next few months, you are in crisis. So we'll encourage the same government probably to appreciate our traditional approach to agriculture instead of just focusing on what they are good at. And then, like he has said, from the medical perspective, most of this advancement we are seeing in agriculture comes with side effects. Is the medical personnel, he personally mentioned things to do with cancer. But do we even tell our farmers, does the government even tell our farmers that we are bringing these fertilizers, we are bringing these agricultural boosters? Do we know the side effects they bring? The good thing you are seeing is the mango, you're grafting the avocado, they look nice, but trust me, from a local perspective, these mangoes even don't taste nice, for example, the grafted ones. So do they even teach us, does the same government teach us the side effect of the advancement that they're coming up with? So I really strongly disagree with some of the points the mover moved. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I am yet again going to invite two gentlemen that have not spoken yet. the Honorable Representative from Persons with Disabilities, and the Honorable Brian over there. No, I'm sorry, I meant the gentleman over here. I'm going to invite you shortly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for this opportunity. Fellow members, this topic is most intertwined when you see, and it is so touching. All those move this motion. So for me, I'm called Abola Chris Billy. So I'm going to talk a bit on this motion, this last motion, about asking the government to accelerate their efforts toward dealing with the root causes of food insecurity and declining agricultural production in northern Uganda. Actually, I will talk generally, not on the disability part only, because this thing is very beneficial to all of us. Even a baby needs something to put inside so that he or she survive. So all this, what we have been saying, actually is summarized very briefly. The government of Uganda is not privatizing agricultural sector. That's why we are facing this food insecurity and declining production in agriculture. So, to my view, the government should intervene inclusive agricultural extension services in northern Uganda. And the government should make sure the land is in northern Uganda is accessible to all. We were talking about this drug abuse, we talk about the conflict, land conflict, all this. When you see even these youth, we talk about them, about showing whatever. They are looking for survival. They are looking for something to eat. For me, they call me, I am their pastor. So I come from Olorozare, where it is deadly. And I love them. But when I ask them, I talk with them, their complaints about the stomach. Ojoga is complaining every time. And they are killing somebody, they are taking a phone from somebody for only 2,000 to get a plate of food. You imagine. Sometimes they tell me, they ask you, you give us 5, please, may you help me with 500? One day, they asked a certain lady, so the lady was coming from Gulu University. You see, they short distance, sometimes they crossed Olorozare. So they were asking, please, you help us, give us 500. But the lady denied. Then they say, okay, let us check what is inside. And they robbed her because of 500. They need something to eat. So the government should see that we have the problem of climate change, the climate vulnerability. So most of this part of Uganda is depending on the climate, the dry season and the wet season and the rainy season. So they should practice climate smart practice to improve food security for us in northern Uganda. So with these few remarks, I can end here, say thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Brian.
Honorable members in the House, I greet you all. My name is Brian Onenrot, representing the youths of Amoro District. Not audible. My name is Brian Onenrot, representing the youths of Amoro District. So my presentation is entirely going to be based on solving basically the problem that has been analyzed. First, I think that we should notice that most of the land in Acholi have been compulsorily acquired by government. But then secondly, there's a statistics that stated as of 2020 that up to 30% of land in Uganda, in northern Uganda was basically under dispute. The solution then is, we think that first, the government has to necessarily review the laws on compulsory acquisition of land. Because at the end of the day, when government ends up acquiring land compulsorily, it leaves people with very less land to cultivate, hence leading to food problems of food shortages and agriculture. But then secondly, we think the government needs to ease the process with which one can basically convert customary land to let's say, freehold, right? Because ideally, most of the challenges we are facing on the issues of land ownership and basically on the issue of boundary conflicts. That means when land is under conflict, it's not being used productively. So the government has to necessitate easy flow from turning customary land into freehold. But then secondly, we think we need to notice the contribution of agribusinesses in terms of solving food shortages and basically agricultural challenges. One, we think government has to ease access to credit for agribusinesses. This can be done in two ways. One, we think government needs to incentivize commercial banks to necessarily lower the interest rates on agricultural businesses and stuff like that. But then secondly, we think the government has to embark on emphasizing the revitalization of the Uganda Development Bank. We have to acknowledge that the Uganda Development Bank has had a contribution in actually helping farmers because they have basically been providing very cheap loans. Currently, analyze that there are very expensive interest rates charged on loans. But even more expensive is the fact that it's very hard to acquire a loan because the cost of acquiring loans sometimes can be up to 40% of the loan interest itself. The implication is it becomes very hard for agribusinesses to access credit, but secondly, it means that if the agribusinesses are not functioning well, it leads to basically food shortages and food insecurity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have severally been reminded that our time is fast spent. Yeah, our time is fast spent. And as such, it hurts me to mention that I am going to cut the debate short. And that said, I will only pick two individuals. Two individuals, priority to those that have not spoken much or spoken whatsoever. The Honorable Pio, I apologize. One, and him.
Mr. Speaker, sir, and colleague, honorable members of Parliament. My name is Miguel Brian Odong. This is a very interesting topic that almost everyone would want to say at least something on it. I would want to so much appreciate the mover of the motion for elaborating more or as per the motion is concerned. However, I have here a few solutions that I think, if it is added onto what he has, can help into moving us into the next step. One, it has been said here several times, and we all know and believe that the young people are the majority in Uganda. But it is quite unfortunate that the majority are the majority not at work, and that leaves the future of this nation at stake. So I would actually request the government to encourage and empower the young people to fully participate in agricultural practices. That is one. Number two, I also want the government to openly come out and begin guiding farmers into what I can term as guided agricultural practices. Our people in the villages do not know what exactly to plant. And if they chance on planting, for example, if you go to villages like Patero currently, they're selling a kilo of maize at 300 shillings,
What can that help? It is coming because so many people came in and planted maize because there were rumors that their markets. So let the government come and begin guiding our agricultural practices. Lastly, I also want the government to, if possible, come in and protect our farmers from the middlemen. That is the reason as to why this year I can actually go down to the villages and plant crops, for example, like maize, many acres. And if the maize is going at only 300 shillings, I will be frustrated, and the next coming season, I'm not going to plant. So I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Elisha.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like you mentioned, I'm Honorable Elisha. So basically, when we talk about food insecurity in northern Uganda, we'd probably address it majorly to the fact that there has been a decrease in the level of agriculture that is occurring in northern Uganda because of the many causes that they told us earlier on. But then actually, when you look at the food that is being produced in sub-Saharan Africa alone loses over 4 billion of food after post-harvest. Like, they have already produced this food, but then it loses it. The greater northern Uganda alone loses over 150 million tons of food that it produces annually to post-harvest loss, you get. So then it's not actually a problem of what northern Uganda is producing. It's a problem of how it actually maintains what it has already produced. And then how do we actually empower them to, produce what is of quality, and then they don't lose it at the end of the day. So I think a farmer, wherever he is, with the right set of knowledge and with the right funding, is able to overcome whichever challenge that we have been mentioning, from the land things to the climate change things. Like, when they actually have the knowledge and they have the knowledge and the know-how, and then they also have the sort of funding that Brian talked about, the credit accessibility and everything, we are going to be able to make sure that these farmers are able to produce what they actually need to produce, and then they don't lose it at the end of the day. For instance, let's talk about the fake agrochemicals that are in the market. It's not basically that all these chemicals are actually fake at the end of the day, but then when you look at how these people use it, just because I've seen my neighbor applying mangozape because the leaves have turned yellow, I'm going to do it, not minding whether the chlorosis of the leaves is due to a nutrient deficiency or due to some sort of a bacterial disease or something. I'm just going to use it because my neighbors used it at the end of the day. That means that I'm going to lose my crops because I don't have that knowledge. And then I think with effective sensitization by the government and inclusivity of the products, and I mean effective in that we shall make knowledge readily available, we shall make funding readily available for the farmers. I think with that, even with the current level of agriculture that is in the country, we can still be able to produce what is enough to take care of us. Basically, I'd like to end here because of time, but it's something I'm passionate about.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We are coming to the close of the session. So I am going to look at a few interest sides. One, I'm going to invite a representative from the government side. Two, a representative from the opposition side. And three, and finally, a representative from persons with disabilities. So, honorables, I would like to urge you to please share notes. As it is, I will be inviting only one of you. You will pick amongst yourselves. So, Honorable Mercy, and next is the leader of opposition. And now that this is out of the session, strictly 1 minute, Sergeant at Arms, if anyone disrespects the time, please, I invite you to take them out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and the entire House. Once again, I'm Lake Gloria Mercy, and we are here not to only provide effects or causes or blames, but I'm here to hint and enlighten more on the solutions. Well, the government has a greater role, and we cannot rule the government out of this because the government is the greater stakeholder in all this business, acknowledging its duties or responsibilities to promote, protect, and fulfill, right? And now, in line with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, 2, that is zero hunger, zero hunger, 13, climate change, and 11, responsible consumption and production, I want to bring forth to you the possible solutions to your raised
problems or questions. One, I think the government should be included in establishing a corporate society, a cooperative society in a way that we acknowledge that most of our standardized foods are sent out to the US and other countries. They enjoy the better production of our agricultural products. Now, what is the role of this cooperative society? One, they will put forth a standardized price. One of us made mention about us going to the villages and buying a cup of maize at 300. Yet these people actually buy and then sell them at 2,000. By the time it's going out, it's like in dollars. So how about we have a standardized method? The second one, I beg to be added, just a minute. Strike a balance between modernized and traditional measures. What I'm saying is we cannot rule out the fertilizer use.
Strictly 30 seconds.
Yes, we cannot rule out the fertilizer use. We cannot rule out the chemicals use. But how about we strike a balance? We appreciate the traditional means of promoting agriculture while we also adapt to the new measures. Now, a third one is establish a regional food bank. Well, still bringing it back to taking the excess food out, we have set a mindset in our people that you need to produce food to be able to sell it. How about we bring activism about striking a balance between cash crops and food crops? Plants to feed the family and plants to also sustain them in other means.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
Thank you very much.
The Leader of Opposition. As the House decided upon the Leader of Opposition.
Members.
Honorable, you are being objected to. The House says the Honorable Shai is the Leader of Opposition.
Okay, but I'm here already. So, given democracy, Speaker,
30 seconds now that it is not your time.
No, he's my brother, so he can come near me. Yeah.
Denied, sir.
You can come near me, yes. Members, moving forward, we need to ask questions. Where have we gone wrong? We need to ask questions. What happened to the cooperative societies in addressing food insecurities in our country? What happened to the Ugandan Development Bank? A member did mention here. Going forward, empowerment areas. As I said, I'm a purported leader of opposition. The right one probably is here. Empowerment areas, we look at youth empowerment and leadership in food systems transformations. We look at networking, possible activities. We have to look at mentorship programs, innovation boot camps, advocacy, and addressing issues of NCDs. I've been in Lacho Hospital for a conference, and they presented a paper saying there's rise in NCDs. NCDs.
Honorable Akena, please take your seat.
It well.
Honorable
so
Akena.
Brother, I urge you to enlighten the members on what NCDs are. Thank you.
Yes, the microphone
is falling down.
I would like to, first of all, send my gratitude to the August House for duly recognizing that we oppose. And we must do it. I would like to start on this motion by giving an example of Japan. In August 1945, the United States dropped an atomic bomb in Japan in the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now you know the effect of atomic bombs is that the land cannot be tilted. The land cannot produce fruits anymore. And since then, they have been struggling in ensuring the productivity of their land should be brought to maximum capacity. Fortunately, my brother last year was in Nagasaki for a whole year learning how they are practicing comprehensive good agricultural practice, organic agricultural practice, which ensures that the piece of land that they use does not ever get exhausted, that the law of motion or the law of energy conservation, that energy is never created or destroyed but preserved and transferred, is practiced. My brother, it's okay. You can calm down. This is going to be the closing speech. And this is something that the Japanese people never appreciated until they had such an occurrence. In Uganda, we are blessed. In Acholi and in northern Uganda, we are blessed with very fertile arable land that we don't see the need to conserve, that we don't see the need to protect. Because whatever you put in comes out with 10,000 more. You will plant one grain of neem, it will bring you hundreds. And we don't see why we should now conserve the other one. And that has become a problem. Now, it has also reached a point where we are now being told to use some atomic bombs and such atomic bombs as chemicals to ensure that our land is more productive. And with that, we are using such, told by the, it's okay, told by the government that they help.
I would like to invite you, sir, to respect the Sergeant at Arms.
Okay. Respectfully, I will conclude in 30 seconds.
You have 10 seconds.
You're wasting my time, Mr. Speaker. Now, as the Northerners, we believe that there is need to protect our land. There is need to remove political interference from our agricultural production. There is need to have intentional investment in ensuring that our production is increased and that our safety, the safety of our food, is very much protected. And that has been seen in the scenarios of Omoro, where we have issues of nodding syndrome, also connected
I would like
to food
to
which
invite
is
you, sir, to
distributed
please take your
during
seat.
the World Food Program. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable, I would please
Mr.
invite you to
Speaker,
take your
sir.
seat.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Point of order. Thank you very much, sir. It is not in order, and I would like to invite the Sergeant at Arms to please escort Honorable.
I thank
the
I thank the
Honorable
one who
Speaker
raised
off
the
the
point of
platform.
order, but this is more crucial than food.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to have the representative of persons with disabilities, after which the Honorable Letitia will come and convince you to please vote yes or no for the motion. Honorable, please use 1 minute.
Thank you very much, members. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I personally have a different opinion on the phrasing of the motion. I personally think it should be accelerating environmental protection and agricultural productivity. If the environment is protected, there will be reliable rainfall, and so food security. Food security, I think it's the child of the first motion we have discussed. But I think generally, there are few extension workers in the community leading to low agricultural productivity and so food insecurity. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Keep time. Whenever you see him contesting anywhere, please give him votes. He has both my protection and my secondment. So the Honorable Amuge, I invite you to convince the members of Parliament. Your motion has been fought. Please unfight.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and the August House at large. Thank you for everyone that came and gave ideas on the motion. Some of the ideas that came up included mindset change through mentorship, involving local leaders to reduce and address land conflict, improvement of infrastructures to increase accessibility to markets and far-to-reach areas, setting up an easily accessible weather-focused system for farmers in the villages, providing resources like equipment, funds to the farmers, and appreciating traditional agricultural methods other than trying so much to change the rest of them that we have. Encouraging climate-resistant planting of climate-resistant crops and climate-friendly farming, review laws of government acquisition of land, forceful acquisition of land, create an easy way to turn customary land into freehold land, and ease access to credit for agro businesses. I want to believe that this is a very critical motion to us, to all of us. I know at our different capacities, we have done farming behind our backyards, in our compounds, in our villages, and so on. Some of us are still aspiring. And then we will need to actually benefit from this farming. But to do that, we need a secure system. We need lands that are working. We need reliable rainfall. Or we need also different system, modernized system, to come into our traditional, as we appreciate our traditional systems. So I would urge the House to vote for this motion as we fight for our region to create a high development, because based on this, we are also increasing income, we are increasing development in the region. So I beg to submit. I say this for God and my country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Letitia. Honorable members of Parliament, you know the drill. Those in favor? Those in favor? Those not? And quite naturally, the motion passes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the close of the session. And I want to congratulate you all upon these rich discussions. Coming here this morning, I came to learn. And I have achieved nothing less than that. I have picked from every single submission. And I am very sure that the August House, the Parliament of Uganda, is ready to have people of your caliber in that house. So this is my encouragement to you. 2026 is knocking. Please take up those positions. Now, I want to invite a representative from Action Aid to give us closing remarks in the capacity of a partner. Oh, I am sorry, sir. I am sorry, sir. The House, please forgive me. I have skipped a very crucial aspect of this session. I would like, firstly, to invite the clerk to read to you or to give you an outline. She's not going to give detailed information. She's only going to give an outline of every single prayer and resolution we have come to. That is going to be our action point. So the clerk, in very little time, please remind the Honorable House what their discussion was. And then the gentleman from Action Aid will speak.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Yeah, allow me quickly review the resolution from the Parliament session. Thank you so much. My name is Marion Abe, and the following were the reviews from the session today. We had 3 motions that were moved by different persons, and on motion 1, which is a motion calling on the government to set up a land review commission for Northern Uganda to address the rising cases of land conflicts and disputes. This motion was moved by Honorable Onenchan Richard, and seconded by Honorable Shamim Yusuf and Honorable Maxwell. And the following were the resolutions from the first motion. 1, that Northern Uganda should be treated specifically in terms of affirmative action, and that there should be involvement of cultural leaders right from the villages up to the national level. For example, the K Kalkwaro, and community members should also be at the front of their interest. That there should be a policy set, and this policy should look at reviewing the policy should be set on how to release land and should be translated in the local language and made accessible to everyone. But also it should be reviewed by the different committees. Then there should be establishment of land review reform for peace to reign in northern Uganda. Another resolution was that there should be public consultation on issues of land, and also cultural institution in existence should be facilitated because they know the history of this land better than the youth. And also that land leadership should be right from the village level up to the national level. And then lastly, that there should be verification of land tenure security. That was the resolution from the first motion. Then the second motion, urging the government to address the high levels of crime rate and drug abuse among youth in northern Uganda. This motion was moved by Honorable Pio Isaac and was seconded by Honorable Kembabazi Anita and Honorable Shedrack Philmon. And the following were their prayers. One, that the government should focus on job creation to the youth in northern Uganda. Two, that there should be improvement on access to education and investment in schools, but the government should above all encourage the young girls to enroll in schools. That the government should implement awareness campaigns on drug abuse, for example, using schools, using the media to disseminate information to everyone. That there should be establishment of a rehabilitation center for drug addicts in different parishes within northern Uganda. Another resolution was also that the government should strengthen the law enforcement, especially in the Department of the Police. And that the government should also promote communication policy to build trust among the people in northern Uganda. They didn't stop there. There was also a concern on family cohesion and counseling that should be made a norm within the society in northern Uganda. Another prayer was also that the traumas that everyone, including the government, but also the citizens of northern Uganda, should be trauma sensitive while addressing the people, that the young people that are within the society, to implement a paradigm shift. So those were the prayers from motion 2. And then on motion 3, urging the government to accelerate their efforts towards dealing with the root causes of food insecurity and declining agricultural production in northern Uganda. This motion was moved by Honorable Amuge Rachel Letitia and was seconded by Honorable Okibe Emmanuel. So the following were the prayers. One, that there should be mindset change within the society in terms of mentorship, that the government should be competent enough and involve the community leaders to implement strategies in relation to agriculture, that there should be improvement in infrastructures to have accessibility to the farming areas, and then the government should also prioritize and design a proper land usage. That the government should also improve on their planning to have a good food security system in northern Uganda. And then there should be weather-focused systems for farmers in the villages so that they're able to detect but also track the different weather patterns. Also, that there should be platform created to inform farmers, and that is still in relation to the weather forecast. And then transport should be given to farmers to reach the different markets where they sell their goods. And to back up, the credits should also be given to these farmers to improve on their agricultural activities. Government should also invest in inclusive agricultural services in northern Uganda. The government should also necessarily review laws on compulsory acquisition of land, and then there should be a climate-resistant crops and friendly farming by all citizens in northern Uganda. Another prayer was that the government should ease access to credits to agribusinesses and to protect farmers also from the middlemen within those villages. There is also need to establish a regional food bank in the region. Then the government to be included in establishing a corporate society in northern Uganda to have a standardized price. Oh God. And lastly, there should be a strike balance between the modern and the traditional mechanisms for agriculture. Thank you.
So those were the prayers. I hope no one is disgruntled that something was left out. Otherwise, I would once again like to invite the partner from Action Aid to give a very simple communication. Closing remarks, more or less.
Thank you very much, the Right Honorable Speaker, our lovely clerks, as well as the Sergeant at Arms. And thank you very much to the honorables of the day. I want to congratulate you for the robust discussions that you have had since morning up to this moment. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. And also, of course, a very big appreciation to the organizers. Let's give them a round of applause as well. I am extremely happy to be here. This is a day that I've been looking forward to. I was not able to go to Pakwach, but I had to make it to Gulu, and I will also be able to make it to the other locations. My name is David Nyaribi. In the youth circles, I am known as the ambassador of possibilities, because I tell the young people as well as the old that it is possible. So many things are possible, but among them to achieve your dream, as well as to make progress with the potential that you have. But in terms of work that pays me but also leads to great outcomes, I work with Action Aid International Uganda under the global platform. And the global platform, these are safe youth hubs that are around the world that train young people, that encourage campaigning on pertinent issues, but also innovation. So I'm already happy that some of the partners that are on board for this particular year are doing work that is similar to what we do. So we shall be able to build synergies. But I also lead on a project that is called GOLD, which is Global Organizing and Leadership Development, which empowers activists as well as social movements to tackle issues within their communities, both and link those at the local to the national as well as to the global. And I will cite some of the issues just before I sit. And I also support the Activista Network. I am happy that some of the participants that are here today, like Larry, like Okello, Innocent, those are coming from our network of activists. And these are volunteers, basically, who identify issues within their communities and are able to also take some action to be able to change the communities. ActionAid is proudly associated with Faraja, Africa Foundation, and other implementing partners. There is no youth parliament that we have not patterned. So this year we also happy to be part, right away from the regions, and as you are aware, we shall be able to have the national one, which will also move all the way to the Vijana assembly that happens regionally. So we are happy to be here, and this parliament is key to the work that we do because it completely aligns with our thematic areas, especially the global platform of empowering young people, and also our issues that we are dealing with, both from the global and the national, aspects like climate change. And for us, we offer what we now call climate justice. So when we do trainings, when we do empowerments, we are able to speak about this. And Faraja Africa Foundation and other partners like the EU and GIZ know that these are some of the issues that we must tackle. And who best to tackle these than the young people, because we are here today and we shall also be here tomorrow. So the youth parliament is key. I don't know why you came. We always have different reasons. But I want to assure you that spaces like these ones never leave you the same, especially if you open yourself up to learning, but also to connect. There are people that you have met here today that you are going to meet in other spaces that are also very strategic. So please, I will encourage you that do not leave this place without making at least 3. We are about 41 in terms of the participants. So at least 3. But I would encourage you to make as many. And when I say that make connection, it's not just saying, how are you, where are you from, Amuru, and that's it. Get the contact, get to know what they like, what they do not like, so that you connect more. You will meet, I can assure you. It is only, but even nowadays, even rocks are meeting. Toro Cement carries it from Eastern Uganda, and they grind it in the north. So you are going to meet, I can assure you. This parliament also, like it's already highlighted in the concept and the people that spoke before me, contributes to national development. These issues are being captured strongly, both in graphic and in writing, and will be presented in the national parliament. Whether the current parliament implements them or not, they will be on the Hansard during the National Youth Parliament, and these are always revisited. There are governments that just come and listen to the Hansards for the many years that have passed. So your issue could address aspects within the North and Uganda today, or will be revisited to shape the future. So I was so happy that you deliberated with strength, with reason, with intellect, all at the same time. I have 2 more points. One is about the youth power. If you are good enough, then you are old enough. No one is too old to learn, and no one is too young to teach. So as young people, I was so happy with the RCC, because sometimes leaders like her always tell us that we are the leaders of tomorrow. But I was so happy that the RCC told us that we are the leaders both of today and tomorrow, and it's true, because we are here today and we'll be here tomorrow. So we need to harness the youth power through platforms like this, but also other platforms, because I am sure if I asked the titles that you possess, some of you are leaders in different forums. So even in those spaces, and this one, you harness the youth power. And what the best thing that you can do is to identify key issues that will make you not to work according to parties, according to religion, according to tribes, according to your height and your color. Those are very small things. But when you identify issues like you have done today, issues to do with land, issues to do with food insecurity, issues to do with drug abuse, then certainly you have now started to move in the right direction. So we must be preoccupied with identifying issues that can bring us together so that we solve them. Last but not least, we are now in a global setting. What happens in Wuhan will end up here and make us to wear masks. And we are also believing that what happens in Gulu can now affect Washington, can affect Moscow, and affect other cities and other places in the world. So we must be deliberate on linking our local issues to the national, to the regional, and to the global. We must be deliberate on doing this, and spaces like these ones are very key. But even in your other spaces, you must be able to do the same. So I invite you. ActionAid provides space for you to be able to do the gold courses online, but also some of you, in the near future, we shall be able to invite you to some of the trainings that we have. In these trainings, what do? One of the things that we encourage is servant leadership, which encourages service above self, which calls for integrity. And I should not even overemphasize this. We all know what is happening in the country and in the region. Aspects of integrity to be able to combat corruption. Ethical leadership, aspects of timekeeping, aspects of unity and working together. So with those, I want to congratulate you again for having a successful regional, or if you may, subnational youth parliament. Don't stop here. I was very happy when I heard Francis, but of course Francis has mentioned it in many spaces, the UNSA president, that he wants to go and contest. And it may not only be political. We have about 7 spheres of influence. There is media, there is the economics, there is the religion. We need bishops and sheikhs from you as well. It is not only about MP and, that's also very good. President, yes, but also in other spheres of influence. The media is very powerful, and all these other spheres of influence. So we invite you to all these spheres of influence, but also the political. If you look at what Marx said, economics versus politics, politics is very key. So we need sane and clear-headed people into these spaces. I would not forgive myself if I didn't talk about the gender aspect. I am happy about the young ladies that are in the house, and I will encourage our brothers to be male champions such that we have more of our sisters within the spaces. Why do we do this? Some people say this gender talk is about getting money from abroad and so on, but I will tell you no. I always give this analogy that society is like an aeroplane. For some of you who have flown, and if you have not, you will. I have told you now that you will fly. A plane has 2 wings. So society is like a plane. If we only work and move with the gents like myself, then the plane is flying with 1 wing. And for you that have flown in the aeroplane or in the aircraft, if you're an American, you will know that you do not want to be in an airplane that is flying with 1 wing, because it is due for emergency what? Emergency landing. So we need both wings, the women, the men, the ladies, the gents, the boys, the girls on board. So I was very happy, and I'm happy for the former speaker that we had a lady. Let's clap for her. And now we have a gentleman that is going to build on what she has already laid and also bring new innovations. So I am very happy. Let this be part of the work that we engage in. Thank you very much. I congratulate the speaker once again. We look forward to working with you and even the other speakers from other regions. And I want to urge you to go ahead. Who knows, you could become the national speaker for the National Youth Parliament. Thank you very much for God and my country. I thank other partners as well. GIZ, let's give a hand clap to GIZ. The European Union, our hosts, the hashtag, and other development partners that have made this possible. Yes? The Youth Sounding Board, yes, it works very closely with the European Union and the Embassy of Denmark. But also to our organizers, Edna, Shalom, and the team. If I've not mentioned your name, you're the one I love most. Thank you very much for God and my country. Of course, my brother as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. David. It is a very important thing to always pick a nugget of knowledge from a man that is well experienced in that area. And going forward, I would like to announce that we have come to the end of the session, and any other communication will be strictly administrative. That said, I'm going to invite a colleague, Mr. Mike over there, to give very important logistical information and communication But if you don't want to listen to him, you're welcome to walk out a little. Otherwise, also I have information on my desk that between the 12th to the 18th of August, Gulu University is going to have a guild bazaar. That is any other business. They will have a guild bazaar. And anyone with a business is welcome to go there. You can reach out to the deputy guild prime minister, the Honorable Kembabazi Anita over there. You can see we have only strong ladies in the house. So gentlemen, please listen to every lady here. Otherwise, Mr. Mike, I would like to welcome you.
Thank you, Right Honorable. And also thank you to each and every one of you for having participated in this sitting. I do not take it lightly. So on my own behalf, on behalf of #Gulu and Faraja, congratulations to each and every one of you. Now, if like me, you also love food, our lunch is ready, and I don't want to stand in between us and lunch. So I'll end these remarks by asking someone to prepare for a very brief prayer for lunch. But before that, I hope we have all registered. If you have not, you better pass by the desk outside and register yourself. Because after this, the Faraja team and myself will remain behind to make sure we sort through. And then you get your facilitation within the shortest time possible. I hope you've put your duly registered mobile number on that sheet, because that's how you'll receive your facilitation. There'll be a group picture outside just as we head towards lunch. So I request our official photographer to start preparing, because we'll have about a minute or two to do that. There were concerns earlier about the group. I would like to say that the group will remain open. I will officially add other administrators so that we continue talking for those who would like to continue talking. So if you are not on that group, please send through your contacts. The Right Honorable will be an admin on the group, so next year we'll not create another group, we'll just hand it over to the new team that will be organizing. Also, there were concerns. Some young people among us here are more privileged than the others, so I call upon each and every one of you to mentor another person in this room or outside, so that we grow together as a conscious group of young people. Like I said, leadership is not only political or positional. We are all leaders in our own rights and wherever we are. Finally, I look forward to seeing most, if not all of us, in Kampala for the nationals, like our rep from Action Aid said. And I wish all of you the best for the rest of your day and your journeys back home or to wherever you're heading to after here, because some of us are in transit. So we are just passing through Gulu. So safe journey, and take back our best to wherever you're going. And please go safely. Gulu is a safe town, but you might want to take your own safety more seriously before you call on the authorities to safeguard you. So our lunch is ready. Please make sure you pass by our sergeant. You will receive a meal coupon just for accountability purpose and for some orderliness up there. And pick a coupon from our sergeant as you head out, and make sure you are in the group picture. That's also accountability.
Faraja Africa Foundation and her partners organized the East African Youth Parliament in 2018, following the establishment of the East African Community, which comprised